Welcome back to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Today we're going to be talking about not just one, not just two, but three stories about Russia and gold in the financial markets and their stock market as well. So they've given out a lot of different clues about different things that are happening over there, Russia, and they're individual stories, but they tell a combined story if you just zoom out and start to put the pieces together. So how do you connect the dots? Allow me to help. So let's go over those three stories, and then we'll go to my conclusion of how I think everything comes together in the big picture. So here we go. Okay, so I've got four stories today that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to be looking over to my left a lot because I've got two screens up, but bear with me, please. So I've got three main stories, and I've got two versions of it up here now. So the first one is the Bank of Russia resumed gold buying after a 2-year pause. This happened on Monday, the 28th of February. So the central bank was previously the biggest sovereign buyer, the largest country buying gold out there, at least officially. And Russia has over 2,000 tons of gold in its reserves, according to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Scrolling down, just reading over the highlights here, the Bank of Russia said it will start purchasing gold again, just under 2 years after it ended. That basically ended in March of 2020 with the events of March of 2020, which I won't go into, but we all know what happened then. The move comes after the Monetary Authority, which is the central bank, and several of the country's commercial banks were sanctioned in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So just reading the story, just reporting what I'm seeing. If this is the chart, it's a very interesting chart. You can see the buying bins of Russia over the last decade, or a little more than a decade, but they went from about 20 million troy ounces of gold up to about 75. So that is a significant move. That's like 3.5 times what they had before. The prices are swinging wildly. And the other thing I wanted to highlight is that Russia has had more than 2,000 tons of gold at the end of January, according to the IMF, accounting for just over 20% of the Russian reserves. It's the fifth biggest sovereign gold holding or gold owner globally. Now, the second report, the highlights from that one, and then I'll start. I'm going to go over these reports, and I'm going to stitch it all together at the end. So just bear with me for a moment. So the second story comes from Kitco, and if you don't know who Kitco is probably one of the leading sites out there, and they have a great YouTube channel. If you're a silver bug, silver and gold, they're great about that. So they know precious metals very well. Highlights from this one: gold's getting further support. This is more about the price indications. Gold's over $1,900 an ounce now. It's a 52-week high. Gold is definitely going up. That typically goes up when there's political unrest in the world. Price of gold will be determined daily by, so Russia's buying again because on the 28th. The price will be set every. Gold has been shining and Bitcoin. Thank you, but no. The purchase price of gold for the Russian banks start every day on. They look at what the London bullion market says the price of gold will be, and that's what the Bank of Russia is going to be buying at, and they are continuing to buy gold. This follows confirmed that U.S. and that's not even a good sentence. U.S. and foreign allies agreed to remove select Russian banks from the SWIFT system, the global financial system, curbing access to banks in over 200 countries. That's a fact, but there are ways around the SWIFT system, as many of us know now, and I'll talk about that in a moment as well. I think that was the highlights of that one. So now that's story number one. Story number two: the Russian bank. Russia shut off its stock market for the third day. That was yesterday. So Russian market's been closed all week. We know that the ruble is losing its purchasing power. It's going down against a lot of the foreign currencies because you can't trade it. But it's what we're really looking at. So the Russian government shut off the stock market, and the government is readying $10 billion to buy up plunging assets. Now, if you've never heard of the plunge protection team for the U.S. market, there are a group of individuals or a team that has a fund to try and make sure the stock market doesn't go down too much in any given day. Little known fact, but it exists, and they want to increase the stability of the market, which is part of their financial system. So instability in a financial market or system, not good. People don't like it. So That's what these systems are in place, and these tools are used to keep things the appearance that everything is fine when we know it's not. So in this story, Russia's central bank closed the country stock market for 3 days. It's probably all week. The war in Ukraine and the Western sanctions have put huge pressure on the financial system. Russia's ordered its sovereign wealth fund to put up $10 billion to prop up the stock market once it reopens. I'm trying to read it verbatim because I don't want strikes on my account. But I'm just sharing the stories as I'm piecing it all together. And then the third story. So now we have a stock market getting closed. We have the government buying gold. Now the third story. This came out. That is not correct. That is not a correct date on this. So I don't know why that says Thursday, August 22nd, 2019. That is not correct. This is just the other day. So this came out, I believe, yesterday that Putin has signed a law limiting the value-added tax, or VAT, on investments in gold and other precious metals. This law makes banking operations involving precious metals, excluding coins, as well as investments into precious metals bank accounts, to be tax-free by eliminating the 20% VAT tax. The new law, however, does not mention anything about the 20% VAT on physical purchases of precious metals. And lastly, the Russian newspaper, however you say that, estimates that in the next 5 years, the demand for precious metals like gold and silver could surge up to 50 tons a year, which is an increase of 15 times from current levels. That is significant. That is an indication that the price is going to go up. And look, the dates over here are saying March 3rd. Why would that say August? I don't know. I'm not going to get wrapped around it, but it already bothered me. So that's the three stories. So let me stop sharing my screen and come back and just talk to you folks. So we have three stories. We have the Bank of Russia buying a bunch of gold. We have the Russian stock market basically closed all week with a plunge protection team in place to prop it up and look good. Third, they've announced that they're not going to tax, was it 20%? It was 20% on gold for physical purchases, especially for banks. Now, it seems to be favoring the banks, not the individuals. That's not good, but it looks to me that all these things are pointing towards a move away from the current SWIFT system, the US dollar, the world currency, towards a gold-backed digital currency or a gold-backed system. So what that means is that we're looking at a gold standard. I mean, we're looking for a country that might adopt the gold standard. Many people thought the US would go back to it first, or maybe it would be that large country in Asia that's next to Russia. You know what I'm talking about. Threats to Taiwan. You know what we're talking about. But that's not the country that seems to be. It seems to be that Russia is leading the way. Now, Russia's central bank and all the crypto activity in the Ukraine, as I mentioned in that story yesterday. I'll post that story up here so people can remember to go check it out. But with the airdrop and everything for Ukraine and accepting crypto donations, so lots are going on in these global markets. And when there's unrest, like I said, precious metals go up. But now we have three stories about the stock market going down for Russia. We know the ruble is going down in value, but they're acquiring gold and they're not going to tax it. So they could be adopting. They could be the ones that are adopting the gold standard. They could be the ones that are going to be using gold going forward in part of their financial system. So things to keep an eye on. Just keep an eye on, like, if that moves further, then we may see Russia revalue their currency against gold and make the ruble gold backed or another digital currency gold backed. We'll have to see. So lots going on, things to keep an eye on, and look for things from the bigger picture and see how things all fit together. So what do you think was going on with these stories about gold and these banking systems in the world? What are your thoughts? Share them below in the comments. Also, like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out. Check out the other videos I post in the corner. That also helps the channel too. So, lots said today. I'm going to close the drawer on the bureau, say follow leader one last time, and thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.